Hey Ines, another week.
Hello, Thor. Yes, another week. It's a good week, isn't it? From what you're
Yeah,
saying, lockdown is easing a little teeny weeny bit, and the birds are singing.
yeah. It's sunny outside. It seems to be sunny every Friday when we meet, which is quite nice.
Well, of course, it's obvious. It's
It's
a sign.
obvious, isn't it?
Most definitely, that's right. At
Us
least the
coming
sun's shining
together.
on you.
Yeah, us coming together and the clouds open.
Yeah, they do. Yes, here we are. Yes, I hope everybody else who's listening thinks the same.
That's so funny. I just finished this fictional book, and one of the characters in that book, towards the end of the series, he doesn't become like a godlike person, becomes slightly godlike person, and everywhere he goes, basically, it's like evil everywhere, but everywhere he goes, the sun shines.
Oh,
Basically, that's what it
wow.
made me think of.
Wow. Oh, that's interesting. And everybody
Yeah.
else has that little rain cloud. And then he walks in this perpetual little ray of light. That would be annoying because then people will start pointing fingers at you.
That is kind of true. Yeah, they don't like it, do they? If
No,
this
they don't. No.
if someone has too much of good stuff, people don't necessarily like it.
Yeah, and you mustn't tell anybody that everything's really amazing and that you're in love, that you're happy, that you're everything is going according to what you think it should be. No, not a
Mm,
good thing. No, keep it yourself.
yeah, absolutely. How's your week been?
Fine, yeah, no, yeah, it's been okay. Everybody that I sort of come in contact with, they're healthy, they're okay, which is
Yeah,
good to know. You know, from what the the news say and so on. There's still a lot of there are always a lot of difficulties, but a lot of difficulties regarding work is what I'm thinking of. People desperately trying to either how do you reinvent yourself? You have certain talents, you have certain interests, and they're hard to change.
yeah,
They also usually require some sort of funding, even if you're picking up, bits of plastic from the seashore. You still have to get to the seashore unless you're living right on top of it.
yeah,
And then to make them say into cards, what I saw one young woman do, you still need some sort of a little machine or something to make something attractive. Or
yeah,
you take it to a printer. So that adds a little bit of money as well when you have no money.
yeah,
So, but there's a lot of optimism, a lot of strength, which I so admire in people. Okay, they're on TV, and they're not necessarily going to break down, but I just admire people who, yeah, I'm trying to make a go of this.
mm-hmm,
It's incredible.
yeah,
Uh, so no, that's always nice to hear.
yeah. What
Yeah.
uh, what topics are we venturing into this
Well,
week?
oddly enough, the topic is relevant, obviously, to all of us, but it's our destiny.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, and if something sounds a little bit familiar, because it is familiar, first of all, however, it can always be reworded a little differently, and by rewording things differently, it puts a different slant on what you're talking about. Just means you're coming from a different direction that gives us all the opportunity to either agree or disagree, which I think is so important. Anyway, our destiny, or the karma, of course, is the physical pathway of our life. And that's very important, obviously. But so is that will within ourselves to find, let's say, the heaven within. And to find that heaven, which is peace, of course, it's actually easier for us to go through the eye of a needle than to find that heaven or that peace that dwells within us. In other words, what I'm saying, it's hugely difficult, very difficult, because it's the physical mind will always somehow manage to bring in some spanner that'll might interrupt your concentration. As I just said, it's the mind. It's difficult because it is the physical mind, which is the sole method of achieving this. That means the gurus, the shamans, all of the priests. You can go from all over the world. They can only ever do anything through their mind, and that is the same with ourselves. No other way. The mind is the power of ourselves. It is the free will to achieve something. It's our free will to persevere, and also our free will to allow our imagination to flourish. Our imagination to flourish without prejudice. Prejudice. I'm going to ask you about that in a moment, Thor. But the prejudice is to come close to feel that force that is with us, that is guiding us through our physical life. And that force gives us the strength and the confidence to bring forward our individuality and to find, importantly, that heaven, that peace within ourselves, or your God within ourselves. And I'd like to come back, Thor, to what I said, to persevere and the imagination without prejudice. I'm saying this not against anyone's belief system, because that is our free will. However, how can we possibly allow the force to come close, to see, to feel, if we think they are something outrageous? Now this is putting cat amongst the pigeons. Angels are great. Why were they called angels 2,000 or 3,000 years ago? Because mankind could not imagine anything, any force that traversed between heaven above and the earth, which of course it isn't. Our heaven is around us. It's not up or down, whichever way you're going. Because that situation, that elemental situation, needed to have wings. Birds have wings. They go up into the air. So these celestial beings also had to have wings. If we completely close our mind to the reality of what there is, we cannot feel the guidance that is standing right by us. And that guidance, actually, that individual, that energy of the individual that we did share life with, is more stable, is more exciting, is more comforting than anything that we can imagine. That is prejudice. The prejudice that we are right, that we need to believe in something that is out of this world. I'm not saying it's wrong. All I'm saying is to release those notions. Let it flow. What do you think, Thor?
What an interesting question. So I suppose the question is, correct me if I'm wrong. So is the question or notion is that it's not to say that angels are wrong, but our imagination, we've imagined something which could be much more than sort of within the box of angels, basically. But so the question though comes back to, right, is like, not to be devil's advocate and slightly flip it all on his head, but if everyone is guided, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it then safe to say that some people will be guided still today to see angels?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Because that would be, again, it's hypothetical. I can't prove this.
Yeah, no, exactly. So we're hypothesizing. Yeah.
Yeah, precisely. But that angel situation, or let's take the two extremes. You take somebody who really is into angels, and the other person who says, there is nothing there. This is one life, that is it. Da, 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 da. Those two opinions can easily be a throwback from the past life. So the person that is complete agnostic, they could have been, whatever their religion was, they did all the right things. They gave the money, they gave the food to the little altar, everything. And then let's take Mount Vesuvius, because I had a regression with one person there who was very, he was anti anything spiritual. He came to me for another reason, not just spirituality. And anyway, so he did all this, and now this mountain erupts, and his family's wiped out. He manages to get to one of the ships and saved his life, but that was it. God, any form of God, was finished. God took his family. And that last thought that he had, my family are gone, and I did everything you asked me to do, dear God, and you took them. Then the chap's reborn. Doesn't matter if it's the next minute or whatever. That thought lingers. Now, with the angel syndromes, there's more than two variations, of course. Could be a past life. It's just a continuation. But guess what? It's also the media. They have an angel, and they're in show business, or they're wealthy. Oh, yes, they made their money because they believe in angels. So I'm going to believe in angels too. It's like the cactus, that little money plant. I'm going to have a cactus because their business is doing well. So I'll get one too, and I'll water and I'll feed it, and so on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I know what you're saying. So it becomes like a social, people are sort of socially
Yeah,
conditioned into believing that
but it's
angels
nice. It's
thing.
nice, isn't it? Oh, I see an angel on me. That's cute and sweet. It becomes a little bit more difficult to just to accept whatever your guide is. And they also don't, they're usually not some sort of a minion. Can you imagine, say, the Madam Queen, if she had a guide was shown to her? Well, it had to be somebody big and important, Socrates, the wisdom, to the queen, not some humble sort of individual. But if we get back to, say, the angel thing, because the personality sees angels, Archangel Gabriel, the guides will allow that imagery to manifest them in their mind, just to get them on a page, the beginning of the page of a spirituality. Then maybe they will wake up and say, oh, okay, maybe there's more.
Yeah.
Because when the mind is then relaxed, other information can feed in as well.
Yeah. Yeah, but I suppose it's quite challenging though, right? If you because I think you kind of alluded to that. It's like if you have decided that
Yeah,
angel is the thing,
yeah.
it is quite hard to let that notion go when it's been given root to grow, right? That is a tough, that is like you said, that is really, really
It's
tough.
tough. Also, if you're in a group of people, everybody's into angels.
Yeah.
This, you want to be part of the pack.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
So,
So let me ask something. So we're
yeah,
questioning the existence of angels, and for those of you who've been listening to this podcast for a while, knows that we work with guides and so on and so forth, which have been with us in a past life, and that's their energy and etc.
yeah. Hmm.
What is the okay, so then and we are about spiritual well-being, enhancing people's spiritual well-being in their
Yes.
life.
Hmm.
Okay, so what how will it make a difference to move on from angels into guides? How will that make a difference in people's lives?
Huge, huge. I can only say, because that guides, if I can say plural, we all have more than one. They will have been with you, and the reason they are with you now is because they have had the same disappointments. They say have had the similar disappointments and similar challenges, and have gone through it, have evolved to be your guide, and with that, they are able to help you to circumvent the difficulties in life. It's not just a placebo. An angel is like a unicorn. It's pretty cute. But when we're talking about help, self well-being for the mind, that is where the guides come in. And
Hmm.
what we get with that, a lot of people feel about feathers. Okay, maybe some pigeon is ass, scratches ass, and down comes a feather. I mean, where else do they come from?
Hmm.
I know about manifestation, which is another topic as well. However, everyone will get signs and signals in accordance to how they would at least take a moment and think, okay, that's interesting. And that gives you strength. So huge difference.
Hmm. Yeah. So like
They make it.
the because guides, I suppose, in so many ways. Okay, let's think of
They've been there.
because angels are often sort of proclaimed as sort of these heavenly celestial beings
Yeah, but who have been on Earth.
who
Guides
haven't
have.
been on Earth, right? Whilst
Exactly.
guides
Yeah.
has.
That's
Yeah.
right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
that's what I was getting to.
Yeah.
Is that-
Totally. I
Yeah.
mean, uh, life is the schoolroom.
Mm.
When we die, that is then you're going back on, oh, God, did I pass? Did I pass? We often say that the good die young, not necessarily, of course, but why are some children die of leukemia or other things, or road accidents, whatever, and they're very young individuals, then other people that can tanker, they go on and on and on and on. It's a timing.
Mm.
It's a timing for that spiritual learning. But that's no guides. It's invaluable. Once you get off that page, then it doesn't mean that you can't say appreciate the happiness that is supposed to be generated with angels. You have an angel, little whatever it is. It's a happy thing. The guides will give us that balance to maybe face what is ahead of us. And because our mind is then maybe a little bit calmer, or all right, because we see things maybe a bit differently, the outcome of this touchy situation that we sometimes find ourselves in is very different. Because people then respond to you differently.
Yeah.
So invaluable.
Yeah, no, I
And
see
that's
the
why,
see the difference
that's why we're
there.
controversial.
Yeah.
But at the end of all that is said and done, whatever we're talking about, it is still the mind that is the sole method of focus, the ability to concentrate, to want, and to achieve something against all odds, to find that peace that surpasses all understanding. And that is what you are endeavoring, whoever's listening is endeavoring to achieve through the art of meditation. Why should I meditate? I don't get anything out of it. Doesn't always work, but you think it doesn't work. I'll get to that juicy bit. Okay, I'll get to that. So juicy. Anyway, dear listeners, if you see me looking down, I do prepare. We both prepare. It's just, to make certain I don't forget any of this awesome information. I do have it written down as well. Anyway, this piece remains with us to help bring forward a quality of life that is not on a shelf. Not on a shelf. It is not in a self-help book. I know many people, oh, that book fell down on my head. Idiot, what did you do? Did you bump the bookshelf or something? I'm being sarcastic now. But what we're doing is not on a shelf, because no one knows your own individuality, your weaknesses, the points of, let's say, when you become anxious or fearful, that might even be deep inside of us. It comes from yourself. And for the guide's help, we can surpass that. But the quality of life that we're moving towards is not on a shelf. And that peace helps us to move through the disappointments and through the difficulties that are part and parcel of the reason of our existence. That is.
What was the question?
There is no question. I'm looking at you. But anything is very welcome. I have another.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's I suppose, yeah, what I was thinking about is often that, I have picked up a few self-help books in my life and flicked through them.
Don't we all?
And I suppose what you often get to is that they're quite formulaic, right? In their approach. That's what I was thinking about, is that they're quite formulaic in their approach, and just try and sort of squeeze everyone into a one-size-fits-all approach to how to improve your life.
Yeah.
Whilst actually what you were alluding to, and where you have to work with individuals, either in groups or like one-to-ones, is that everybody is individuals, right?
That's right.
And that's where you have to identify what their weaknesses, strengths, needs are, and then you work with them in that way.
Exactly.
Not necessarily through a form that comes out of a book.
No, that's right. But also there was something in the paper, in the Daily Telegraph or something. It was about about relaxation. Go on. I wanted on the first paragraph. I don't want to read about their accomplishments. I don't actually want to read about their life. I want to know the answer to what I can do to make myself calm or happy or richer or whatever it happens to be.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. And that usually in self-help books, what I've noticed. Are you okay?
Yeah. Okay. I turned my sound was still on, so I just turned my sound off, basically.
Oh, okay. What I found is that you have to read through about 3/4 of this self-help book.
Yeah.
There was also a chakra book. Awesome, beautiful pictures and photographs, explanation, everything. But what I wanted to see, what do they do about opening and closing the chakras?
Yeah.
It was then you had to know, it wasn't just on one page, XYZ. Then you had to turn another page and then you looked at the other bit. No. What I hope we're able to do is to give a concise, easy answer to the way forward. And then possibly, if anyone is more interested, is what did we leave out? Well, we can't include everything anyway. What did we leave out for them?
Mm.
And that's where the questions come in.
Yeah.
Because it is so simple. Our visualization meditation incorporates in one go, balancing, cleaning, happy. Everything is there, meeting up with guides, coming back, and you still have the problems. Sorry, that's still there. But all of a sudden you look at it, all right, what can I do?
Mm.
It's no different than our grandparents who used to have a cat nap, or no, they used to say after Sunday lunch, I was going to say, but who always said, sleep on it.
Yeah.
And that's exactly the same thing. In that state, they can come close.
So you
It's
need
the
to
same thing.
rephrase it to meditate on it, basically.
Absolutely. Yes.
Right. That is
Yes.
the sleep on
Absolutely.
it for today's or for the future is meditate on it.
Absolutely. So a true and deep understanding and meaning of life is a continuous process of learning. That means another problem solved, so another one comes along. You think everything is fine in life. Oh no, another situation is a challenge. That is the continuous learning process that we're talking about. And the appreciation of life, that regardless of what is happening in and around us, that each and every single day of our life is a gift. And once we really individually truly know this, then life becomes worthwhile because we realize that the challenges are actually the gift. And I don't know what happens when we die. We're not meant to. Otherwise, maybe we don't want it. That's why we're not told an awful lot usually by clairvoyants.
Mm.
The clairvoyant who gets his information or her information, a step ahead. If we don't meet our challenges individually, what's the purpose if we're given the answers to the test? No, nothing at all. But we need a balancing situation within our life. And that balance comes from within ourselves, from understanding the meaning of life and its purposes in its totality. And that, of course, Thor, if I can just allude to yourself, is we've done a lot of career regression for yourself together, haven't we?
Yeah.
And often with the meditations, I always go around the little groups that we have. So how did you get on? It's not necessary to always get something, but then you'll say, oh, this and this guide came forward and I haven't seen him or her for a long time and so on. Meaning it doesn't matter. They just will say, hey, we're still around. We're still
Still
around.
huddling around you, showing that we're still
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, totally. Now, the power of meditation, as we said, brings forward your guides, which can help and control the physical side of life, not the spiritual. And this is where usually that people come in, because it is the word spiritual is slightly misunderstood, which we will not go into. The spirit that I'm talking about is that which draws in all of the essence of learning at the time of death and moves away. That's the etheric, that is the energy force, moves away at the time of death. That force can never be controlled, as it were, because that spirit has its own path. But what the guides are doing, so you might say, so why have guides if our physical life isn't that important? Wrong. So what the guides are doing is allowing our path of karma to be followed as closely as possible. And you may say, so what? From what I've just said. So if you're going, for example, for an interview, going to work, giving a presentation, whatever it is, anything at all, just meditate for a very short time to allow your guides to come close. Meditation is important for our physical life, but not necessarily for the spirit. I'm coming back again to that. That is around us. Having said that, the spirit that is around us learns, progresses through the physical pathway of the vehicle that it is attached to. So today it is Thor and Ines. It could be, a panda in the zoo. We could be a panda next time. We're still a life force. We could be a pretty little flower. A cactus is still a life force. So whatever that life force is the spirit that it attaches itself to, it will take on the lessons of that particular life. That's what I'm trying to say. So it has its own agenda, and then it's chosen, whatever it happens to be. Or what do you
Which
think?
makes our physical life incredibly important, right? Because without our
Very,
physical life, that
yeah,
spirit around us does not progress. It just stays the same.
yeah. That's why, if it really didn't make any difference, why have somebody saying, "Oi, don't do that, please." Why bother?
Yeah.
If it really made no difference.
Yeah. 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 No, exactly.
Well, everything pales into insignificance in the light of meditation, where the guides feel it is necessary and right, of course. Any form of quietness that we have can become a form of meditation in order to help the body and the mind of that particular person. Sometimes the body needs a different kind of calmness other than the natural rest that each of us have to have, but where the body, the heart, the lungs, the kidneys, blah blah, the liver, and all the other functions actually of the body need to relax. So when one meditates, and we say this all the time, all of these situations are given a respite, as the body, even if it's only for a moment or two, but that moment or two will give greater strength to those organs of the body, thus making them more efficient within the time to come, not just now. So again, we have a twofold situation, or twofold reason for meditation. Okay, with this calmness, the physical body and the mind will feel the benefits, and these benefits will continue and continue. And this is the natural lead into spiritual development of the self, which is what our link is all about. Spiritual link. Meditation, as you progress with that, and as you become calmer, and so on and so forth, that then leads into the self-development. What do you think, Thor?
Well, I think that's very, very true. And I mean, I think what do I think? What do I think?
Well, because it's so much a part of you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like the thing is,
Yeah,
I think the difficult thing I think part my challenge is because obviously with being introduced to it by my grandmother at a very young age,
yeah,
obviously didn't practice so much during adolescence because you were a teenager, but then I
yeah,
met you in my 20s. So it's kind of always just been there. So it's hard for me to, I think, I mean, it would be very interesting to have a conversation with someone who's like, didn't have it, then got it, and then see the
yes.
difference, you know?
Yes, yes, yes. No, that's true. But actually, many people don't really realize what they're really doing when they meditate or relax, and then wonder why they can feel in their everyday life the feelings of a positive change and the feelings of being much calmer in general. And this is simply because the body is much more relaxed, it's much
Yeah.
more rested.
Yeah.
And also, because of that say meditation the person does, suddenly they become aware of lights or the presence of grandmama, and they might think, oh my goodness, oh, that's interesting. What all what is all this? They might be thinking, they maybe feel somebody touching them, and not realizing for a moment that through the very practical approach to meditation, they have actually exceeded that and then moved on easily, naturally onto the spiritual side. That is what meditation is all about. When we
Mm.
talk of angels or anything, we're not saying anybody should only believe in guides. That's not what we're saying. But through meditation, we each find our own level
Yeah.
of what is right for us at
Yeah.
that time.
Yeah. And I suppose that's a really, really important piece. And I think we've sort of touched on this before, is that, and it goes back to your analogies about self-help book, is that if you go into any bookstore, you will find a million different books about
Oh,
spirituality and
yeah,
self-help and so on and so forth. And it's great to read, but until you take that time to sit down and meditate and see what comes forward for you,
yeah, yeah,
you,
yeah,
us, the royal we, the royal you,
yeah.
until that time, it's sort of meaningless, because you
Yeah,
have to, because if you don't feel it for yourself as yourself in your own way,
yeah,
it's It's like hot air in a hot air balloon.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, we always seem to think other people know more or are better than we are. If I'm just talking about celebrities, many celebrities, I don't have to have a name. There are dozens of them, from hypnotherapists to film stars and so on, because they've got a name, so they write a book. They're no better or no stronger inside than we are. Maybe the lessons of life have really demoralized us, but that doesn't mean we don't have the ability to find that strength and push that all aside. And then, raring to go. We are exactly as strong as any guru, as any shaman, as any priest. It doesn't matter who we're talking about. They're only whatever they are in this lifetime.
And you can create that strength through meditation.
Yeah, absolutely. You find yourself. Yeah. And be proud of yourself just to get through life. Yeah. Little, I don't know, a little statue, little paycheck.
Is that
Anything. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Is that the positive message of
Oh,
the week,
no,
Ines?
the
Or is there more you want to touch
message.
on?
No, the positive message I was just going to say is just, I think it's exactly what you just said, or we both just said about, the disappointments in life, that we have the same strength that anybody else has. Anyway, the message is, if you have a past with which you are dissatisfied, forget it now and move on. The past has gone, it scars, it hurts. Sticks and stones may hurt our bones, but words will never harm us. And even if you've had sticks and stones at your head and whatever, it's the past. You get rid of it.
Yeah.
Do not, if you possibly can, allow it to ruin the rest of any opportunities, however small they might be or invisible they might be, because we are still shackled. Because then the past wins.
Yeah. Thank you, Ines, for
That's
a
okay.
lovely, rich episode about the mind, angels, meditations, the full whammy. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Thor. Thank you.
And if any of your listeners have any questions, thoughts, anything you'd like us to comment on, feel free to send us a question.
Yeah, we'd love it. Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
All right. Bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.